Okay, we're back on. I think we're, how do I stop this? Turn down my volume here.
Looking once again for our feed.
Yeah, well, we are on, dude.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it says we're live. Well, let's see what the, okay. All right.
I even have closed caption here on my phone. Wonder how I did.
Wow, closed caption. What are we moving into the 20th century, Joel? Hey, good morning, Joel. What is going on?
Hey, folks. Brother Keith. It's been a while, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. It seemed like last time we were doing the show, it was summertime, and now it is fall. It was 63 degrees when I woke up this morning, and I still had the air on. I like the dryness. I think by the end of today, it might be a little drier outside.
Yeah, I agree with you, Keith. Stephanie asked if we should put the AC on open the windows last night. I said, you know what? Let's wait until the morning.
Yeah.
We'll keep it a little bit dry in here.
Yep.
And then we'll open the windows in the morning, which we've already done. So I see Tara's on. Good morning, Tara. Good morning, Brad. See you're on there. Thanks for chiming in, saying hi. If you're on, tell us where you're coming in from.
I don't see.
I
see Tara and Brad. Yeah, good morning, folks.
Where are you coming in from? And where do you hear about us? That's awesome. All right, Keith.
Where did you hear about us? And what did you give up to watch the show this morning? Because I know a lot of people go to, the ends, extreme lengths to see our show.
Indeed.
Yes. So how about if we get it started, Joel? I need another couple of sips of coffee. Had a long week. I'll talk to you that in about a second, and when we come back. And what do you say? Grab your coffee.
I feel.
I'm ready. You ready, Joel?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's start the show.
All right, here we go.
From the Somerset Studios in Westchester, Pennsylvania, it's Smacked and Jack Live with your co-hosts Keith and Joel Slenderman.
Jack up your income, smack it in the face. Jack it up, smack it.
And we're back. We're back.
Yeah,
I still need to work on a fade out there. Keith, what do you need to tell us, brother?
Well, I was a budding rock musician back in the early 80s, and I thought I was going to be able to do that the rest of my life for about a minute or two. And then I figured I'd be an entrepreneur. That didn't work out. That only lasted about 35 years. And now I've got this thing called a full-time job.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, Joel, you've had a job for quite some time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you work 5 days, 8-ish hours, right? So that's considered a full-time job, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the whole idea, the whole concept, anything about it, No midday naps, no middays. Oh, I'll go get a cup of coffee, order a sandwich,
None of that, right? And I bet you have to get up at a certain time every day.
Yes. Well, I get up at different times, but I've been getting up kind of early anyway. I figure if the earliest I have to be in is 8:30. So if I kind of get up early anyway, that way, if I'm working at 2 p.m, I don't sleep until 1. It kind of keeps my. Right. But
well, as the story goes, you're kind of busy in both of your businesses at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm a little busy at the shop here. Yeah, it's probably about as busy as I have been, except for maybe a little bit slower than last year because of the COVID thing. But I've got less time to do my stuff. So
now you have the time to do it, right? So
yes. So I'm going to see a few clients today at right after the show here. So maybe they'll be watching as they come in. Maybe they'll be listening to it on their. Do we do what's that called? The podcast. We're not a podcaster, are we?
We don't do podcasts yet because I have not figured it out, and I have given that job to you to go ahead and figure that out.
Whoa! All right, so stay tuned for that. The younger children in our audience may actually see it. The ones that are closer to our age aren't going to be around when that happens.
Right.
But
our life expectancy is only let's say 100.
Right. We'll give it 100 years, and I probably got about 130 to figure out the podcast thing. But when I do, you'll know about it. Joel, what is going on today?
Okay. So it is a beautiful day, Keith.
Hey, it is.
So I'll be cutting the grass today. As it turns out, last week when I was cutting the grass, about 3/4 of the way through riding my tractor just stopped moving. The blades kept going, but the tractor just stopped moving. It turns out that a pulley cracked on the transmission.
Oh, the actual pulley, not the drive belt. Wow.
Yeah. So when I looked down there, the screw had come out the top. But as it turns out, my neighbor up the street, Mr. Williams, who lives behind Dad's old house, right?
Yeah.
He came down and he took it up again. And he got back to me yesterday, said that the pulley had cracked. So he had to order the parts, the whole kit that goes together. So that's going to be, he said, probably about 2 weeks before he gets that. And the whole price for the job is going to be about $300 because, he has to take the transmission out.
Yeah.
Got to buy the parts. And the last time he came and worked on my tractor, he did not charge me any type of pickup fee for the tractor because he's right up the street. So
right. Yeah.
I'm saving $100 right there just by having to do the work. So,
right.
So that means, Keith, cutting my grass normally takes about 3 hours using the push mower and the tractor and doing the weed trimming. Today, I'm minus the tractor. So let's throw on maybe another 2 hours
to
this particular job. So we'll see how it goes there.
Make sure you have plenty of beer on ice there because that's I remember pushing down at Kmore down there, and if you have anything more than just about a postage stamp parcel,
the
driver.
I'll get my work in today.
You will.
My workout in today. Okay, folks. Yesterday was September 11th. I'm just curious where were you September 11th, 2001?
It's funny. I was talking about that to a couple of my workmates yesterday, and there, and a couple of my clients here. And people ask you, what were you doing when this happened? What were you doing? And I don't remember anything other than 9/11. I was at the shop. This is 2001, and Kathy, my dear ex, came in late, so I came in early, 10 o'clock. And normally back then, Howard Stern was on WYSP. I'd pop him on the way to work. I'd stop, get a cup of coffee, get to work with the radio on. Did none of that. Didn't get coffee. I don't know what. Maybe I had a cup at home or something like that. We didn't have the TV on. Got to work right away. One of my customers was waiting for me. She had obviously hadn't heard anything. And then Kathy showed up probably about maybe 11 noon. I don't know, whenever, a little bit after. And she comes running and goes, hear what happened? You see what they did? I'm like, who, what, they, what?
Right, yeah.
And then she started saying about, the Twin Towers. And my customer and I were just looking at each other like, I heard her, but I couldn't understand. It was just kind of, what? It's because I would completely, for some reason, my routine of absorbing media in the morning was shut off. And it was just, of course, from there on, we throw the radio on, and the rest of the day, where everybody's walking around like, what the? Yeah. So what were you doing, Joel?
So I was in my classroom, and I had a student teacher, and our assistant principal at the time came in and handed me just a paper note. And it said something along the lines of, even though there are events going on in our country at this time, we will continue to stay open. We're not going to send any kids home or anything like that. So I read that. It was not very clear what he was getting at. I guess they didn't want to put actually on paper what had happened.
Right.
I read that. I'm like, what's going on? So then once the class dismissed and we had lunch, I, got on the computer and so very just crazy. And I saw a posting that Linda sent out yesterday about the telephone calls from the planes and from the towers that were recorded messages that people had called just before either their plane went down. So I guess that was just released by the FCC this year. But anyway, it was a pretty interesting post, a very sad post to hear all those phone calls of I don't think we're going to make it through this one. And that's the last these people heard from their loved ones. So so anyway, so Brad said he was northern New Jersey delivering groceries when it happened. I could see the smoke from the towers.
Wow, no kidding, Brad. Wow.
Yeah, you were way up there, huh? Very close to ground zero, as it were. So anyway, almost 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, 19 years ago. Yep.
Almost 20 years ago, and all that went down. The other thing going on in our country today, Keith, is all the wildfires out California.
Yes. Yeah. What?
Oregon, Washington.
Oregon, yeah, Washington, yeah. I didn't know they'd gone up that far, but it seems like the whole West Coast is being.
Yes, yeah, and I think I almost forgot. I have a slide for that, Keith. It almost seems like the entire state of California is somehow involved with this. I went on our cousin Janet's, Facebook page yesterday just to kind of check up to see how she's doing. And apparently she's okay, but a lot of areas around her, that's not what I want. I want to present, sorry. A lot of areas around her have been burned and so forth. So I don't know if you can see that, Keith, but pretty much, all up and down California here, up in Oregon and Washington, all the way out into Colorado and so forth.
Yeah.
Plenty of wildfires there. And this particular map here shows where all that smoke is going. So some of the smoke from those California fires have made it all the way over to Lake Erie. And as you can see, there's actually some fires on our side too, but they're not near the size of what's going on in California. So,
wow.
I think eventually, Keith, we're going to be seeing that smoke, in our area. When you look up, you're going to see kind of like a haze or something.
Yeah.
But I've seen pictures from California, San Francisco, some Facebook friends.
Yeah.
It is like doomsday out there. At 12 noon in the afternoon, you can hardly see anything. So I mean, talk about air quality.
Yeah, the first time I saw the picture of the bridge there, and I thought it was either dusk or dawn, but that was in the middle of the day. They said
it was like 1 in the afternoon or something.
Yeah, right? Just the sun never cuts through the smoke. I mean, that's just that's crazy. Natural occurrence, that they seem to get wildfires out there every year, and I guess it's nature's way of kind of clearing the land for new. But you wonder after it takes a while for these forests to grow. You wonder there's any forests left out there. Yeah.
You wonder like how much more is there to burn,
right?
And it's been so hot. Hot and dry, and then once those fires kick in, man.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, let's move on.
All right.
Last week we talked, or 2 weeks ago, I was sharing that Stephanie and I were purchasing a Pocono home as a vacation rental property, and we went over, the mortgage situation.
Right. Yes.
My recommendation there is just, check out at least a couple different mortgage companies before you go with one. Because we saved about almost $10,000 by going with a different mortgage company than what I originally was going to go with. So thank goodness I made that phone call. So today I thought I'd go through. Let's go ahead and share again, Keith. Today I thought I'd go through where we ended up getting our down payment from. So this is what we went through last week or 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And we ended up over here on the right side, 20% down. We saved at the very bottom there, we saved about $9,654 going with this 20% down plan. Okay. So the next question is, where do we get down payment for our vacation house? Okay. So that's, Stephanie and I, how are we going to get this down payment? So I kind of generalized this particular little slide presentation for either purchasing a down payment on a house, purchasing a car, or a down payment on a car, or so forth. So this is kind of generalized. So it can apply to many different situations here. So what we thought is, we have our mutual fund accounts that we've had for years. And when we moved into our current house right now, we had a house prior that I bought before meeting Stephanie. So we had our equity in that. And then Stephanie had some funds that she sold off some shares. So that's what we did when we bought this house. We went to the mutual fund account. However, Keith, when you pull out money out of your stock accounts and so forth, your accountant asks you, at least mine did, how much did you pay for those shares to begin with? And then, we see how much they sold for, but what did you buy them for? And I'm like, I don't know what I bought those shares for.
What you have an accountant for?
Yes, that's right.
You have that written down somewhere?
Right. So anyway, you're taxed on the gains, and you're obviously selling the shares to get, that money out. And then of course, when you take the money out of those accounts, you're no longer getting dividends or building interest or building those accounts.
And you pay to take them out too. I had some stocks that I moved around years ago, and whenever you call that guy, he's charging you. So that's, that's a loss right there.
So exactly. So there's all sorts of fun, you're paying your taxes, you're paying your fees, this, that, and the other thing. Okay. So then the next thing we thought about was our home equity line of credit. That's what that HELOC stands for, which we do have one. And I really like the HELOCs and the flexibility of the HELOC. However, if we used just that for the down payment, we wouldn't have quite as much as we want to have in reserve to, repair, update, and so we want to do the bathroom, we do some painting, this, that, and everything. So we say let's not do that. Now there is a possibility of the IRA taking money out of 403b, and then my last one here is the life insurance. Let's take a look first, Keith. I believe I had the IRA here. So if you borrow money from an IRA, I believe that you can take out some of your contributions without paying penalties. However, if you want to withdraw earnings on your contributions, you have to pay a 10% penalty, from your IRA. If, however, if you look towards the bottom there, IRS, you can take a tax-free withdrawal of some of all the money, as long as you put the money back into the same thing or similar within 60 days. So again, that's not going to help us too much either. So
no,
you can take it out, but you got to put it back in a month.
Quickly, yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Okay, so again, that money is there pretty much until retirement.
Yeah.
We're not going to be taking anything out of there. 403. I have a 403b, Keith. You're probably familiar with the 401k.
Yes.
403bs are, the teachers, and I guess other state employees have 403bs as well. However, let's see, you got to reach 59 and a half, and you can take those, excuse me, those withdrawals penalty free. But you have to pay taxes on those withdrawals, even after 59 and a half. If you take it before, you can only take it if you're separated from service, you're permanently disabled, or if I die, the funds are distributed to my beneficiaries and so forth. And then you can take out for some other reasons, but essentially you're going to be penalized if you take out from the 403b. So Steph and I thought, well, we have this cash value in my life insurance. And this is all I had to do right here, Keith, to get the funds from my cash value life insurance into my checking account. So I signed the paperwork for direct deposit on August 31st. And by September 4th, they were in my account. Now, Keith, you've taken out a loan before, right? For a house or something like that?
Yeah.
How long does it take for that loan to get processed?
Well, it takes a little bit longer than that. And you're signing a heck of a lot more signatures.
Headache, right? Even buying a car, which we did recently, and we actually did take out a car loan for that. You're in the the dealership for a few hours. It seems you're signing this, they're doing your credit check and all that stuff. So no credit check involved here or anything like that. So moving on, let's just take a look at a couple graphs here. When you buy or purchase something with cash, which many people do, and I've done before too, you have in the black there, you have like all your cash, right? And then you buy something, let's say you buy a car for $30,000. So you buy the car for $30,000, the next day you're at zero, because you just put all that money into a car. All right. So over the next number of years, you save 5-year loan and you pay yourself back. And in 5 years, you're back up to $30,000. which is
And
okay.
your car.
We're using the power of that money, right?
Right. Yes.
Once you put it in your car, once you put it into your house, you're losing the power of that money. All right, let's take a look at buying with a loan. So a loan, you have your $30,000. However, now you're in debt for $30,000, and let's say for 5 years you're paying back on that loan, but we know the amount that you're paying back on that loan is, whatever the percentage rate is on the loan.
Right.
So,
Higher.
yeah, either way, with the cash or the borrowing a loan or taking out a loan, you're still losing money basically. So what we decided to do is borrow from our cash value in our my life insurance account. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you a general overview of this, and I'll be happy to send you some information, whoever would like to have some information as far as what books to read about life insurance cash value. So essentially, Keith, what I did here, when you have a cash value account, the more cash you have in your insurance account, the more life insurance you have. But you can borrow against that. So as you can see here, my cash value, let's say it's up at 30. I borrowed, which is the next column over, but as you can see, the cash value really doesn't go away because I'm not borrowing essentially from my account. I am borrowing from the insurance company. So my cash value continues to grow, and essentially way over at the end there on the right, Keith, I end up with more money in my cash account than I started out with, is why that cash value way over on the right is higher than the one on the left.
Right. At the end of the right.
So again, general overview. If you have no idea what I'm talking about with cash value, whole term life insurance, I can send you some books to read. But that's essentially what we did, Keith. And in the end, what that does is free up. Let me get out of my screen share. Yeah, what that does is free up all those other funds that we have, the HELOC, whatever we have in our checking account, to do our repairs and our updating and so forth.
Okay.
So that's the route we decided to go.
Yeah, nice.
And of course, we have to pay that loan back. But in the end, that money is we're borrowing from ourselves and we're paying ourselves back there. So
okay. Now, if you don't pay that back, do you have the value of your life insurance go down, or that does have to be paid back?
That is correct. Actually, good point. Paying that back is very flexible. We can start paying it back whenever we want. We can stop paying it back. We don't have to pay it back at all. However, when I do die, it will come out of that life insurance, the payout at the end.
Okay.
So whatever's, so that's their collateral, basically, that it's a lien against that, ending policy.
Okay.
So, yeah, very flexible. So,
somebody like me, it might not be an idea. I could have to do some research on this myself because you've been talking about it forever, but it almost seems like somebody like me that has no dependents might be a good idea to use all the equity in that as possible. And then when you pass, you don't get any insurance, right? There's got to be
well, yes, exactly. And a lot of people, they in the books that I read, they show a lot of case studies where, people turn 75, they use the insurance as part of their income. So they'll take out $30,000 a year income. And then by the time they die, the insurance payout is about, maybe $200,000.
Okay.
Where it was at $1 million. But they're using that as an income.
Okay.
And the best part about it, I almost forgot, is that, it's all tax-free. It's tax-free money that I'm getting. And at the end of the year, because I was borrowing, just like on any other account that your mortgage, your car, when you borrow, you get one of those forms, right, that say how much interest you needed to pay.
Right.
So you're saving there as well because you have to account for, deduct for that interest. So,
and you say tax-free. It's not really tax-free because you've paid tax on the money that you put in. Income tax,
correct.
These other mutual funds and all that's kind of a tax, what do you call that? Tax
deferred
shelters, right?
Oh, right.
So you don't pay until you take that stuff out. But what you're doing, you've already paid tax on the money that you're putting into it. So
correct. However, it's growing at 6.25% right now, that cash value. So when I take out that money, including the 6.25% that it's been growing by, I don't
that is
take that because it's a
untaxable.
loan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right? It is a loan.
Okay, cool. Well,
So
that's very interesting.
yeah. Okay. Let's move on, Keith.
Yes.
If you're getting any value out of this show at all today, we have a thin crowd, but we are so happy that each one of you are on today.
Great to see you, as normal. I think the reason why we're a little thin here is because everybody's out raking leaves already.
Yeah, I know.
Buying parkas maybe, or
Being
collecting
outside,
firewood for this evening. But remember to like, share, click, whatever you do.
Comment.
Yes, comment.
Laugh,
Yeah, tell your friends about us.
Yeah, something like
Good
that.
to be here every week. What else we got going on, Joel?
We have one trivia question today. Can you believe that?
Okay, well, one's
And
better than
that
nothing.
actually works out pretty well. So we have one trivia. Share screen here. Let's go back to that. And let's go to, can you see that, Keith?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I'm reading this. Let me put my spectacles on. Yes. Which 1992 American drama film tells the story of preparatory school student who takes a job as an assistant to a blind, irritable, retired Army officer? Wow. Let me read that again. Which 1992 American drama film tells the story of a preparatory school student who takes a job as an assistant to a blind, irritable, retired Army officer? Well, other than being blind and a retired Army, it sounds like, did I do a movie back in the early 90s and get help from somebody? Is irritable the same as agitated? Because that sounds like me. Hold on.
Where is it?
There we go.
I got to fix my iPad there. All right. Ready for some jokes, Keith? And we'll
let's
and we'll get ourselves out of here. Okay. Question number one. Since we're back into school, I thought some maybe teacher and student jokes would be good for today. Number one, teacher, why were the early days of history called the Dark Ages?
Why?
Because there were so many nights.
Oh yeah. Boy,
why did George Washington chop down the cherry tree?
Do that again, Joel.
Why did George Washington chop down the cherry tree?
Why?
I'm stumped. Last one.
Good one.
Why was the math book sad?
Why?
It had too many problems.
Oh. Boy, I tell you. And it seems like you're not doing them in any sort of order, but they do get better with time. Jokes from that book, they just.
Do they really, Keith?
No.
Do they really?
Oh, very good, Deb. Whoa. Good morning, Deb, from the middle of the country.
Yeah, good to see you. What's
like good corn? Did you guys get some corn out there? I remember last time I was there. Probably was the last time I was there. We were at Aunt Nancy's. And I must have had 6 ears of corn. They came right out of their garden, their field. And it was the best corn I ever had. So I hope you had some good corn this year, Deb, because I had a couple, not too bad down at Linda's, but not as good as I had out there. So
yeah, they walk across.
Linda's on, yep.
Keith, let's stay in history. What do you got?
Yeah, well, not a whole lot other than
I'm shocked.
This day in 1950. Where is it? Come on, don't do that. Oh, there it is right there. I got to fix my mouse. This day in 1953, John F. Kennedy marries Jacqueline Bouvier in Newport, Rhode Island. This day in 1953. Isn't that something? They had a little bit more than 10 years together. Those two. That's about it. I just wanted to put out a one of my. I think it was after I fell in love with Farrah Fawcett, which everybody did when they were. What the heck is our? Back in the 70s, when I became a little bit more. What do you call that?
I don't know, preteen.
No. This was after I was discerning about my taste of women in power and all that. I fell in love with Emma Peel. Remember Emma Peel?
Yeah.
From the Avengers. Without Emma Peel, Diana Rigg, Dame Diana Rigg, and what was the guy's name? Patrick McNee. There wouldn't have been an Austin Powers. There wouldn't have been a lot of other stuff. And we lost Diana Rigg this week. She had cancer. She wasn't young, 82 years old, but like the early 60s empowerment of women. She was definitely that. And
good.
You know, without being overly sexual or anything like that, where, you know, classless, all this kind of stuff. She was, as far as the show, it was pretty something. So if you get a chance to watch any of those old Avengers, they were pretty. I'm trying to think of what was out in the 60s over here. Perry Mason. You know, Perry Mason used to wear women's clothes. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Or maybe that's that other guy. Never mind. Rockefeller. Anyway.
Oh, right.
Anyway, Perry Mason was no Diana Rigg. So anyway, farewell to Diana Rigg, passed this week, age 82. So really this day in history. But yes. So
okay. Shall we get back to our trivia?
Yeah. Let's do our trivia once again.
Then we're going to be done.
Even when we have nothing to talk about, Joel, this show, and I just came up with an idea, should be a show about nothing. And then you could have like the intro, you could have it do it like on a keyboard, but make it sound like a bass, do, something like that. And then we could have this really tall guy come in, like just slamming through my shop door every. Joel, you got to have those bubbly things, like come out of your head when you look up to this. Say, what the heck?
Right. I'm trying to figure out where you're going here with this.
Seinfeld, a show about nothing. Oh, I only ran for about 13 years, Joel. Yeah, you might have missed it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not watch that many episodes of Seinfeld.
I got into it probably a couple years after it started, and I was hooked. And I still catch it every once in a while, late at night, and it's pretty doggone funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, the trivia, and I think Debbie's got it. We only got one answer too. So, which 1992 American drama film tells the story of a preparatory school student who takes a job as an assistant to a blind, irritable, retired Army officer?
And what's the answer we have there, Keith? I don't see the.
Deb, The Scent of a Woman. Al Pacino.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here.
All I can think of is Scent of a Woman. Very good.
Well done. You know what? I saw that particular comment and I completely forgot that we had something
that had anything to do with our. Yeah, well, we all suffer a bit from ADD here at the show. And all I can think of about that movie to begin with was this whole courtroom's out of you're out of tune or something like that. That was a different one, different movie he had. But I think The Scent of a Woman, wasn't he driving a Ferrari? No, because that was somebody else too. Yeah, I remember him dancing with somebody. But anyway, it was a good movie way back when, and Debbie got it. So, all right, what else is going on there, Joel?
Nice job. I think that is it for us today, Keith.
All right.
I would like to say, or I want to say, we wish everybody around the fires way out west.
Yes.
And most people still recovering from the flood. I mean, if we could move some of that water out to California, that would.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
We've had a couple of really bad storms on this side, down south, and out there it's dry as a bone and burning. It's just. We can manipulate
climate change. I think that's definitely.
Yeah, that is correct. We can manipulate a lot of things in today's world, but the weather is one thing we haven't been able to figure out. Going back to the 70s, early 70s was when all the hippie were saying the government is seeding the clouds. Remember they used to say that the jet streams from it. They're seeding the clouds. What the heck are you talking about?
Yeah, I heard Mom say that. Like more than once. I'm like, clouds, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that must have been from the McCarthy era of
That and umbrella handles and cheese. Ah.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory. Anyway,
I think we better get ourselves out of
yes,
here.
all right. Thanks for stopping by, guys.
we get kicked off the air.
You can always watch us on repeat on YouTube and on smackandjack.com and all that kind of stuff. And Joel, I could run and get my schedule, but I think we're good for next week too. So stay tuned.
Okay, you know what, Keith? I might not be good for next week because why? That's when we settle.
Oh, we got settlement?
Yeah, we have settlement next Friday. We're going to stay over to Saturday morning, but I'm going to be in a hotel room. So I thought, man, it might not be the best.
Great, because somebody might get a delivery Sunday morning.
Oh,
Somebody can't use half of what else they have in their basement. We'll talk about that. We'll actually, I think next Sunday I am working, so I'll bring them up to you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I might be in
great,
your
Joel.
basement for a little bit. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, folks.
Okay. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and remember, you deserve a thought of your own.
So be in touch to learn, laugh, and live. Thanks for sticking around on Smack and Jack Live.
Thanks for stopping by, guys. See you next time.
See you guys.
Smack that in the face. Jack up